Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner. This is stage 18 of the Vuelta, España 2021. 162 kilometers, about 100 miles in length, 4 categorized climbs, 2 category 1, 1 category 2, and of course the special climb at the finish of today's stage. That's 14.5 kilometers long at just about 10%, and it has sections at 17% that'll summit and finish today's stage. Now, let's go inside the Movistar bus. Now, we all know it's always fun to drop inside and watch the meeting of all the teams. And today, Movistar, they got a dilemma. Carlos Verona from Movistar won't start today's stage because of a crash he had at yesterday's stage. So the director up there, when he's giving the meeting in the bus today, he's got to tell the riders, okay, guys, we only have 5 riders here. Yesterday was an exceptionally hard stage. We lost Carlos Verona. But I need all 5 of you guys to be absolutely something spectacular on today's stage because we have second and third, Enric Mas and Lopez on the general classification. That means the other 3, we're talking Imanol Eviti, Nelson Oliveira, and JJ Rojas. You 3 have to be spectacular. And this is hard for a director because he's sitting up there and he has to motivate those 3 riders. He does not have to motivate Enric Mas and Lopez because those guys are second and third on general classification. But they don't have any pure climbers left to be able to finish the stage and ride up the final Especial climb with their 2 GC favorites on today's race. So manager's got to find some way to motivate his 3 domestiques that he has left. Now remember, yesterday was an exceptionally hard stage, absolutely brilliant stage, but from kilometer 0 all the way to the finish, all the riders are going to start today's stage, and especially the Movistar 3 domestiques sitting in the bus, they're wrecked right now. So the managers will have a little talk, explain tactics of what he wants on today's stage. And when you only have 3 domestiques, you better be perfect on today's stage. So when the racing starts, 32 riders go up the road. Imanol Eviti is one of the riders from Movistar covered in the break. This is the first tactic that has gone spot on for Movistar. You can't have more riders in a group of 32 because some of the domestiques have to stay with Enric Mas and Lopez back there. So they get Eviti in the front group, but the problem is he's not a pure climber and they don't have a pure climber to put in there. That group of 32, though, will gain 3 minutes right away, and it's Bahrain Victorious that jump on the front and start setting some tempo. Up the first category 1 climb over the top of the KOM, it's Michael Storer DSM that'll steal maximum points on the stage. He will drop down the backside with the group of 30 back there that survived the stage to start the next category 1 climb with his teammate Arensman riding the front. Arensman will do a fabulous job of setting tempo the first half of the second category 1 climb on today's stage until with 70 kilometers to go, Michael Storer lights it up and drops everybody. Now he's going solo over the KOM to again steal maximum points on today's stage. Behind Bahrain Victorious, the sole team on the front, they're setting a tempo, but they still not bringing back time on Michael Storer. On the descent of the category 1, Michael Storer is taking maximum risk, and the road back there is slippery and nasty at times, but he is carving it up. This boy can ride his bike downhill like nobody's business. He does a great job of putting 1.5 minutes on what's left of the breakaway riders back there before he starts the final valley section between the category 1 and the category 2 climb of today's stage. Now, Bahrain Victorious, they've been riding the whole time, but not doing much damage into the breakaway times and Michael Storer until the Movistar rider, Imanol Eviti, who got dropped out of the break, now he's back in the field of GC favorites. Movistar will pop Eviti on the front along with Nelson Oliveira. And remember, Nelson Oliveira was one of only 2 domestiques left back there to help out Enric Mas and Lopez. So just because we haven't seen him on the front doesn't mean he's been getting a free ride. I'm sure he was getting bottles, sugars, bars, and keeping his 2 GC leaders out of trouble throughout the stage. Now he's on the front with Eviti and Jan Tratnik from Bahrain Victorious. Those 3 riders are driving it like the TGV back there only can, and they are flying. All of a sudden, now the front group of what's left of the breakaway riders is getting pulled back as we're starting the category 2 climb. Michael Storer up front, who's still solo with over a 2-minute lead, is riding fantastic considering he had to do a 25-kilometer valley section between the Category 1 and the Category 2, and he still has time left on all the GC favorites. Now, this is the next dilemma for Movistar. When they hit the Category 2, we'll see if Viti and Nelson Oliveira give each other a little pat on the back. But the next problem is, for the two GC riders, Enric Mas and Lopez, they only have one domestique left, and they still have to get over a Category 2 climb, drop down that descent, and start a Category 1, which means if you don't have teammates with you, there could be big problems if you flat, crash, have a mechanical, or just somebody to back there that can get you bottles. You need to have a domestique still with you to start the last climb, and JJ Rojas is on the back of the GC-led peloton, struggling to make it over a Category 2 climb. Now, when you go back in the team bus, this was the dilemma that the director had. How can I get my 3 domestiques over this Category 2 climb and keep somebody with my GC favorites to start the final Especial climb? JJ Rojas is going deep into the reserve bank of energy to try to make it over this climb with his GC leaders. He does a fabulous job. Not only does JJ Rojas make it over the climb, but he'll start the final Special climb on the front, still pulling to try to bring back Michael Storer. Now, with 11 kilometers to go, it's AG2R Bouchard that throws in the first attack. It's followed right away from UAE Team Emirates, David De La Cruz. Now, De La Cruz had to do something special on this climb because going up the Category 2 climb, it was his whole UAE Team Emirates on the front driving to try to bring back Michael Storer, and none other than Rafael Micah, who was in the original group of 32 that was doing most of the damage to the peloton back there up the Category 2. Now, David De La Cruz is flying. He'll catch Bouchard right away, and he'll make short work of him and start off on his solo effort to try to bring back Michael Storer. Behind, things get tricky that I never expected to see at a Vuelta España, a Grand Tour. Nonetheless, it's Intermarché's Wanty back there that gets on the front and starts chasing with 8 kilometers to go. Jan Hertz and Louis Menkes back there on the front of GC favorites. I joked about it here on the Butterfly Effect about how they thought they were becoming the new Team Sky. Man, the joke is on me because these two boys are driving it on the front. Intermarché has destroyed what's left of the peloton back there and reduced it to only the GC favorites at this year's Vuelta. Up front, Michael Storer will get caught by David De La Cruz with 7 kilometers to go, and then David De La Cruz will finally go off solo with about 5 kilometers to go in the race and about a 30-second gap on the GC favorites behind. With 5 kilometers to go, things start getting interesting again as Egan Bernal, his legs are still good even after yesterday's epic ride and fantastic classic stage of racing. He is back and he's putting in the power to the pedals as Egan Bernal distances himself from all the GC guys except Primož Roglič. Behind, Lopez will bring up the GC favorites when Egan Bernal finally swings over and looks back at Primož Roglič, who's next to come through. The group of GC favorites are about back together. There's Sepp Kuss back there, Enric Mas, Lopez, Egan Bernal, Primož Roglič, and Bahrain Victorious is doing everything they can to keep Jack Haig up there with the GC favorites. Adam Yates is the one suffering the most out of all the favorites up there. Until 4 kilometers to go, then it's Lopez that throws in a massive attack, but he still has 30 seconds that he has to get back from up front because David De La Cruz is still solo. The UAE Team Emirates rider is having a fantastic day on today's stage. Now, Movistar, let's get back. Remember, they started only with 5 guys. 3 of their domestiques have done a fabulous job. Now Lopez is going solo. Enric Mas is playing the team card behind, and he's doing it brilliantly. He has covered all of the attacks from Egan Bernal and Primož Roglič, and now it's Sepp Kuss, the American Flying Eagle, on the front. He's got fantastic legs too. We saw him yesterday get second on the stage. It's not having that much effect on his legs now because he's still on the front, pulling all of the favorites steady and keeping Lopez at a 30-second gap. Lopez will catch David de la Cruz and pass him with about 3 kilometers to go. And now Lopez has to dig deep because he's got everything on the table to win here, but if he's caught, he's going to blow up and lose a podium at the Vuelta a España. So lots to win if he can stay on the power, and amazing stuff to lose if he's to get dropped and caught. He's got about a 20 to 25 second gap over the Primoz-led group back there until about 2 kilometers to go when Primoz Roglic just lights it up and trying to go solo, but Enric Mas, Movistar, only starting the stage with 5 riders on the team. He is the next to step up to the plate. He covers Primoz Roglic beautifully. Egan Bernal is on the back and swinging at different times, but he comes back to try to do another attack himself. They can't bring back Lopez as Lopez is just driving to the line with only about a 20-second gap. He's got no time to hesitate. He'll cross the line for Team Movistar victory. That was absolutely fabulous teamwork on today's stage. Great job, Miguel Angel Lopez, to win today's stage 18, and fabulous team tactic style played throughout. Now just behind, Primoz Roglic punched it with a few hundred meters to go to bring Lopez back to 10 or 15 seconds. Mas loses just a few seconds to get the last podium place on today's stage. Egan Bernal just a second or two behind Enric Mas. Bahrain victorious Gino Mader did an amazing job to help Jack Haig go all the way to the line to get 5th on the stage and keep his 4th on the general classification. Egan Bernal will start tomorrow's stage 5th on general classification. Now, Michael Storer, who was the highlight on today's stage outside of the tactics of Team Movistar and the brilliant riding that they displayed on today's race. Michael Storer was amazing, going from 70 kilometers, taking every KOM on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd mountain of today's stage. He'll get in the mountain leaders jersey after today's stage. Fantastic ride, Michael Storer. He's already won 2 stages here at the Vuelta a España. Now he's in the KOM jersey with his teammate Roman Bardet in 2nd place. Behind, it's Louis Menkes, who will finish today's stage and move himself up into the top 10 on the general classification. Fantastic job, Intermarché of Team Tactics, and looking after and setting a vicious tempo up the final Especial climb on today's stage. I never saw it coming. I would have never been able to predict that we were going to see Intermarché Wanty destroy the group of GC favorites on an Especial climb at a Grand Tour nonetheless. It was a fantastic day of racing. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys real soon.